Good morning, Africa. This is the first round of the MSA Africa Festival 2025, and we start the morning off with my personal favorite, rallying. We're in two locations today, Kenya and Estonia. We're going to be doing two stages in those two locations, so you're going to be with us for about 40 kilometers worth of rallying in total. My name is Richard Herring. I am the founder of the ENRC, and I run it with Ryan Barrington-Smith. You'll know him as one of the finalists for the FIA Rally Star Search and probably one of the fastest aliens around. The NRC, folks, is our parent organization. We're not just a community, we're actually a sub-body of the real National Rally Championship. So that is something to be super excited about because we have a lot of support from the very, very top. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be going live really soon to the stage. At the moment, we've got a schedule going. That schedule is as follows. Starting off with us at 8:45, the Africa Festival ENRC Challenge, followed up by some M2 BMW racing at 10:45, Logistical Nightmare Racing Console at 2, Logistical Nightmare Racing ACCPC at 3:45, and then online karting a little bit later on today. We're going to need to jump across through the stage because we are about to go live with the first drivers. We will get into the remainder of it through in the next service park. Apologies, folks. There is a bit of a learning curve, and I am a first-time admin in this, so any dead microphone time you have to excuse. Sorry, I am also the host of the event. But currently, if we could go over to our broadcast to the drivers, as we are live with Stage 1. Currently, you are with our previous champion for the Club Rally, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. This is the real rally driver, Charles Wilkin, in his Toyota GR. This is one of the DLC cars, folks, but it is an absolute cracker. Lots of our drivers using it at the moment. And it is worth mentioning that Toyota GR South Africa is one of our sponsors. They helped us get this whole community off the ground. As you can see here, Charles Wilkin is tackling the stage of Malewa. This is an exceptionally fast stage, folks, with sudden, very tricky bits. As you can see, Charles Wilkin approaching one of the very technical sections. Suddenly, rocks both sides. You now have to worry about where your spillover is onto the side of the road. All of these rocks could mean the absolute end for the driver on this section. These sections here coming up very fast, but also very bumpy. So the cars have had to be set up in a very specific way to allow for a very high ride height, but very stiff suspension to allow. Here you have another one of our drivers. This gentleman here, I believe, is one of our African entries. He is also started as one of the faster drivers in this whole thing. As you can see him executing there, one left. That was very slick, folks. That was a very tight turn. A little bit loose on that one. He could have potentially committed a little bit later, but he is smashing it through the early sections of the stage. Again, heading up to one of these very tricky sections with rocks, suddenly into fast, suddenly into rocks. These two stages in Kenya are going to test the drivers. Big off, hitting a tree. With the hardcore damage we're seeing on this lobby, folks, that is definitely going to have hurt his chances. Here we are with Rikus Hutting. He is also one of our faster drivers we're seeing in our club championship. He's going to be giving Charles Wilkin a little bit of a run for his money. As you can see on the left-hand side there is a progression bar where you can start to see some of the guys as they spread out. As you can see, Rikus is actually quite high up in the order there, executing a one left, one right. Very slick into quite a technical section here. And now this is going to open up here with some pace. Hitting a tree is never really ideal, but now it starts to get really fast on Rikus as he starts opening up. The road is going to get a little bit wider on him. As you can see, the trees and the bushes start to clear. And then, if I remember the stage correctly, there is going to be a very fast section here coming through a farm. All running a little bit off here, but committing to the very big commitment there through the junction. Apologies, folks. We are about halfway through the stage here with Rikus. As you can see, he is in third position currently. Charles Wilkin in second. James in first. Here we have Kalen Mauer executing the same turn. That big jump through the junction there, catching Kalen out a little bit. These cactuses, folks, are quite solid. As you can see, they don't necessarily give way when the car hits them. Backed up by also a lot of trees. That is definitely going to have hurt Kalen a little bit. His radiator, his forced induction, there's going to be quite a bit of damage off of that one. That hurt him as well, running 9th through that 90 left through that junction. We're going to be hitting another very fast 90 right here, but this one has a bit of a cut if the driver is committed enough. And here we go, the section I was saying through the farm. this gets very fast coming up this hill here, and again, just like Kenya, very, very fast into sudden, very technical sections. As you will see, Kaylin's going to be approaching a very sudden section of tight turns and then has to navigate up a hill. He made the commitment to the turn too early, unfortunately, and here he goes blasting up the hill. And as you can see, folks, the road extremely uneven. This is hampering our drivers. It's what's causing the big dip outs when they land, the suspension giving out. Back with Charles Wilkin, currently in second. Oh, very lovely, Charles. Big commitment there on the cut. Those red pylons you see there, folks, are cut markers. So if you actually cut that, it adds a further 5-second penalty onto your time. So the drivers are gambling there when they put their nose onto that. If they hit it, that's 5 seconds immediately onto their time, which will very much hurt Charles Wilkin's efforts here on stage 1. As you can see, heading up the hill, another section with some very tight rocks, very tight 90 left, 90 right, not a lot of space as the road tightens in on the drivers. Again, folks, we are here in Kenya, first stage. We are at Malawi. It is a very fast stage, very, very bumpy, as you can see, and some of our drivers spreading out. As you can see, there's a driver who is falling back on the left-hand progression. He is most likely either suffered some very serious damage or has managed to get himself turned around on the stage a little bit. Luckily, though, unlike real rallying, there's not a lot of margin for error in terms of getting lost. If you do find yourself getting lost, suddenly the game is going to slap up a big thing and say you are heading in the wrong direction, basically. Back on board with Rikus Hutting at the moment. Big slide into that. Not wanting to gamble with the little policeman bollard on the end to there. As you can see there, another one. Like I said, folks, those are there to stop the drivers from over-committing and cutting the corners. As you can see, little one there, a little bit of a clip. I don't think that counted, as it has to really be annihilated for the 5.5 seconds to apply onto the driver's time. Big commitment there through that one left. As coming through here, I hope, if I remember correctly, this should also be quite a little tight section, and there is a section coming up here. Now this is the final section heading up to the last straight. That section that he just went through there, that indicates the last 900 to 800 meters of the stage for this. So this is the driver's opportunity to really send it. Now he knows he's got the last little bit. It's full throttle. Charles Wilkin, no, that didn't help. As you can see here, folks, last 200 meters to the flying finish. Charles on board with Charles Wilkin, and last 100 meters, and there are the flying finish boards. Now we're on board with a number of the other drivers, as you can see them coming careening across the lines. I'd like to see, Director Sir, if we could jump through to the gentleman who is currently looking like he's having a bit of trouble further back. I'd like to see potentially what happened to that car, if possible, because this stage is ruthless, folks. Kenya has a extremely high attrition rate, so I'm not promising that we're going to have a high fall off, but it is quite likely that a number of our drivers are struggling a little bit with the conditions. As you can see, Kalen Mawa here, he is definitely struggling after he hit there. You can even hear that Toyota not sounding 100% there. You can hear it's not sounding great after he hit those cacti in the early parts of the stage, and that is really going to hurt him. But they do have a service park coming up now, 45 minutes of simulated time in the service park. We're not going to have to sit through all 45 minutes. Within those 45 minutes, they will have to do their absolute best to provide their engineers with a solution for how to fix the car. They will have a number of options, but time being what it is, they're not going to have all the options. So, folks, as we are waiting and busy loading into the service park for the next one, the drivers are going to most likely be doing their level best to get their cars absolutely sorted. This is unfortunately due to game limitations. We can't show you this part, as the spectator mode is slightly limited, I should say. We are hoping that EA, WRC, and the developers EA make a number of changes that would really help with the way that we'd like to get this out. But myself and the other people involved in the ENRC, we're investigating ways to try bring some more rallying to you in ways where we can get onboard footage from the drivers and stuff. Director, so if we could please head to the top of this leaderboard so we could have a look at what the difference is between our top drivers. Thank you kindly. So as we see it at the moment, Charles Wilkin finishing that off on a 5:57.112 with Rikus Hutting right on his tail, 3 seconds behind. 4 seconds behind that, There's a little bit of a spread. So Charles Wilkin has some breathing room, ladies and gentlemen. He has bought himself some breathing room because Kenya, 3 seconds could be all he needs. That's all it takes, really. One little spill, he could find himself still in first place by just essentially keeping with it. We've got a number of who would have been our foster drivers being spoken about before this event, obviously having a couple of spills as they navigated through this first stage of Kenya, but we do have the second stage to go, and as everything can be seen in rallying, as we saw with our current WRC champion crashing his car in the early shakedown stages of the first rally of this year, anything can happen in rallying. That is just a fact of the matter. So we are busy heading over now to stage 2. As you can see, the graphics of Kenya, brutal roads, lots of rocks, lots of trees, lots of immovable traffic signs, and lots of spectators. Hitting a spectator in WRC doesn't come with as many issues as you would call it in real life, but it does provide quite a hefty time penalty. So it is obviously something you don't want to be. It's not GTA, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to be hitting spectators and all those fantastic, wonderful things. So we are finally wrapping up with Service Park. We're going to be waiting for the last couple of guys. I believe it's most likely going to be taking a couple minutes considering some of the issues that they're having. But in the meantime, potentially we could go back to the early intro part. We did unfortunately miss 2, and we have about a minute and a bit to cover that now while we finish off the Service Park. So if we could just go back to the schedule, I'd like to just cover a couple of the other people who are involved in the Africa Festival. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, Motorsport South Africa is our main title sponsor, if you want to call it anything of this, but we are showcasing what is available in South African sim racing at the moment on the highest level. Myself running the ENRC with Ryan Barrington Smith. I'm also going to be the one, you're going to hear me a little bit later as well, with the BMW One Make series, with the Logistical Nightmare. Guys, this is a huge community. So if you are looking for somewhere to go do some ACC racing, and ACC obviously being a little bit of an everyman simulator, I encourage you to go check these guys out. There is something for everybody there, from I just got the game and a steering wheel to I am an absolute assassin in this, and I'm looking to cut my teeth against some of the fastest guys. You can find that at LNR. The BMW thing, folks, is a new venture and will involve a lot more iRacing to come in the future, as well as some tasty treats potentially from BMW as well. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I don't want to say too more, but we are looking at doing a lot more stuff with iRacing in the future, as well as focusing a lot of the free content. As well, if I could then go over to the prizes, so we can talk about a little bit what's available for our viewers today. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a Sparko gaming voucher available for everyone who comes through to the broadcast to the value of 1,500 Rand. This will be available throughout the day, and all you need to do is go to the link within the page, within the link, of this broadcast. You will see a sign-up form. All you need to do is provide us that information, and we can then go. You will also have to share some details, but everything you need will be in that. As we go over to the start of the next stage, this is a stage known as Kayawa. It is also extremely fast. We are in the last 3 seconds as the drivers are about to go live, and we are a go. Mr. Director, if we could swap over, please, to the first driver as he heads off. Thank you kindly, sir. On board with Rikus Hutting, massive commitment there through that 3 right. He is on fire at the moment. I reckon Charles Wilkin does potentially have a little bit of a bit of a problem here potentially, because this early section here, this whole 1 kilometer absolute caning of it, you can hear he's on the limiter, 5th gear. That is top speed of that rally car through there, or at least what the gears will allow in that section. That was full commitment, folks. That was flat out for that full kilometer. That was quite impressive to see. So one of the things, ladies and gentlemen, that I would like to also point out is what you can see with Kenya. A lot of these roads run through farms, private farms. So sometimes you'll get sections on this rally with massive amounts of spectators crowding the roads and everything. Huge slide off there from Kalen. He has to watch out for that. As you can see, rocks will litter the sides of the road. That could be an instant puncture, instant differential damage, even terminal damage if he hits the wrong thing. He's going to need to watch that if he wants to still stay in this. But what you have here, folks, going back to it, is farm roads. You can see here, this would be public section, you can see, and then suddenly pop into the farm. Now you can only watch from the outside of the farm. A lot of the time, though, people will people get the opportunity to go watch in these farms, and it's absolutely spectacular from what I've heard. My own father made the pilgrimage to the Kenya rally last year to go and spectate, so I believe it is something to behold. As Kaylin is navigating here, we've got another very long open section of straight here that's going to be very, very important on how he navigates this next right-hander section of right-handers coming up, opting for caution, not wanting to overcommit, taking the more cautious route, not wanting to cut there, not hitting the policeman bollard, and off he goes into another very fast section here. And as you can see, and the reason I mentioned the farms, folks, is that's often where the roads are a lot smoother. The graded, smoother roads and through junctions and stuff are on the farms often a lot smoother, and then when you head out into the more public sections, that's when things get a little bit more crazy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a guaranteed 5-second penalty for Kalen Mauer, as he didn't even hit the bollard, he just went on the inside of it. So that will punish him for that. But the man is flying. He definitely is one of our faster drivers at the... No. That, ladies and gentlemen, it could be it for Kalen. I reckon that Toyota is probably very anal after that. I don't think he's going to be too happy after that one. Heading back to Charles Wilkin now, on board with our previous club champion. He is on fire at the moment. The commitment through the cuts, the commitment over the crests, he is throwing everything at it. Caution to the wind. He does not want to lose this. I think he wants those Sparko Gaming gloves more than anyone else at the moment, because this is absolute sending it. Little bit of a mistake there, overcommitting to that slight left, but still back on it. Luckily with these rally cars is the amount of power you have low end on the gears is frightening. Really, truly frightening when it comes to just getting the car going. So even if you shank the corner a little bit and you need to drop it down into first and absolutely throw it, that's a good idea. And as you can see, Charles Wilkin really at the moment having a bit of gap. As you can see there, the delta timing up, bringing up at the top. Not a single driver had made it through that fourth sector there. So really showing the pace of Charles Wilkin at the moment. I think right now, I don't want to give him the commentator's curse, so I'm not going to say anything more, but thank you very much, Director. Moving on to Rikus Hutting, navigating quite a tricky section here. This section is very, very big crests, as you can see, getting the car very unsettled onto it. That's probably going to hurt him a little bit, but it doesn't look like it affected him in the timing. Heading out through this very, very fast section here, as you can see, just flat out, have to commit over the big jumps, and very swooping 3 left by the looks of things. Ooh, that tree came a little bit close for comfort there for me, even in the commentary box, but Rikus is definitely one of our faster drivers. Ooh, it remains to be seen, folks. That didn't look like it hurt him in the progression, but I definitely saw that bollard go flying, so I'm not sure how the game is going to count that one against Rikus, but definitely wanting to chase down Charles Wilkin at the moment. As you can see, Rikus is potentially caught up to Charles a little bit, because you can see the two of them on the left almost superimposed upon one another on the progression. That means that they are basically on top of each other. If you could see both cars, you would essentially see both cars in the frame right now, almost on top of each other. That is how close these two drivers are, folks. They are beyond sending it at the pace they are going, and they are as close as they are. Just it boggles the mind how some of these guys are able to keep it together over these dirt roads. Obviously, folks, we are the wing of a national rally championship. So if you are looking at doing some, or at least going and spectating some real rally, please make sure you find your way onto our social media. You can find us anywhere if you search for ENRC. You'll be able to also then see a lot of what we put out about our parent body, about the rallies coming up, the calendar, spectator guides, as well as how to access route information for when you are actually a spectator, how to find the stages and all that kind of stuff. You can find absolutely everything regarding local rallying with us as well on a national level. So if that is your flavor, please feel free to join us. And that, I need to stop there, was the tastiest slide I think I've seen all day from Charles Wilkin. Huge commitment there, and I think there was a touch of handbrake that threw it in as well. Really huge commitment. And again, don't see Rikus on the side, so that means him and Charles are on top of each other. Oh, I could be wrong, as I'm seeing the delta coming up there. I didn't see Rikus's name, so apologies, folks, I may be wrong. This, ladies and gentlemen, Barry, is our head timekeeper for the National Rally Championship. He is a part of the real process that brings the real rallying to us. An absolutely vital job, as he is essentially the one that keeps track of everyone's runnings, where they are on the road, and the times they're posting at the end of each stage. So Barry Kemp is one of our real world rally representatives coming and joining us here today on the virtual side of things. a little, maybe a bit caution to the wind. I don't think he's ready to quite throw it all away yet, so coming through here. And this, folks, is a really fun part of the stage, as you head through this little bit of a bumpy part, and you finish off with an absolute stonker of a speed section where things just get faster and faster and stay the same bumpiness, stay the same tricky sections. You get these huge sections through the trees, flowy section, and Charles Wilkin across the line with a 6-minute 32. Looked like it was a flat. So as you can see, the guys have now a minute to finish the stage so that we can keep things rolling forward. After the stage, ladies and gentlemen, is complete, we will be heading to Estonia for another 2 stages. Now, the thing with Estonia, ladies and gentlemen, and I will get into some more detail with it, is it's fast, and just as deadly for all the different reasons. Smooth, unbelievably gentle roads with huge jumps and crests and rising sections. So we will be back in a few minutes with Estonia, but on board now with our final stage finisher. It does look like he's going to be able to finish. I do think in the first stage he suffered a DNF, as was not able to get to the flying finish. But that, as you can see with the amount of understeer, there is definitely some steering issues there. He has definitely suffered some damage. Modern day rally cars don't understeer that badly, so definitely some issues there for that driver. So, at the moment, leaderboard stands. Charles Wilkin taking a big victory on this one, taking 5 seconds total by the looks of things, with a commanding lead currently. 2 seconds ahead of Rikus Hutting, and a further 11 seconds on third place, as you can see. Charles Wilkin, the clear winner of this one. He's going to score maximum points for this event, as this is a mini championship in essence. Charles Wilkin and all the drivers that finished up to the 10th will score points to carry on over through to Estonia for the next round. So as we head on over to the next round, you'll see the apologies folks, just making sure I'm not missing anything as the admin here. Okay, moving on over through to Estonia now. Folks, Estonia is a fan favorite with a lot of our drivers, but is brutal. Unfortunately, I don't think we have a graphic for it, but what you're anticipating is beautiful Eastern European type countrysides, long, swooping, smooth roads, and as you can see, 28 kilometers worth of stages. 2 of the longer stages, and as you can see, stage 2 starts with a very tricky section through a tarmac piece. So that will be a big test of our drivers to be able to transition from dirt to tarmac to dirt. But that's only stage 2. Starting off with the first stage, and I apologize to the nation of Estonia in advance for how terrible I may be pronouncing your stage names. Otapa and Metsalane are the 2 stages we're going to be going to. And again, I apologize in advance to the nation of Estonia for my butchering of those 2 names. I think I need some tutoring on that. So, as the game loads on over, you will start to see a number of the drivers on my side getting ready, choosing car choices. Just as a reminder, folks, we are in the WRC 2 class. So it is a big field ranging from Citroens to Skodas to Hyundais to Toyotas. There is a big selection of cars available to the drivers, but the cars are all extremely tightly homologated. That means that all the cars are essentially exactly the same, and what ultimately differs is what the engine does internally to make it go, and the badge. There's really not much else to it. The cars are so tightly homologated together that you end up with a very tight competition of the field, which is exactly what we want to see. We've got a very tight class with this, and we really want to make sure that they are able to showcase what they can bring to this. One of the things that I have done though with this, ladies and gentlemen, is I have not surprised our drivers with anything. We have made sure that the stages are smooth, or should I say no rain, so you're not going to find much road degradation with heavy rainfall tearing up the roads and the cars tearing up the roads. We're also not expecting any nightfall stages, unfortunately. We are going to look at it in the future, but to make sure that you guys can see what's going on, we have made sure that all the stages run within a daytime setting. So Estonia, also something worth mentioning, ladies and gentlemen, is like with Kenya, extremely fast flat out sections where the car is going to get to 5th gear to the absolute edge of the limiter in 5th gear. There's nothing more that car can do in that section, and then suddenly you're going to arrive at a very tight technical section, a jump into an immediate one left, one right, two left over. It's going to be very, very tricky for a lot of our drivers to navigate it. And I can speak from experience, having tested this mode with some of our drivers. There's a little bit of a sense of urgency that suddenly takes over in this lobby mode. When you're sitting in the club and it's just you and you're doing your rally in the evening, or whenever it is you find time around kids and family, you can do it in your own time. This lobby rallying is go, 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 you gotta go. So it encourages our drivers to drive maybe a little bit more caution to the wind, which is what we're seeing with some of the crashes. Kalen Mauer was a big unexpected crash in that last section where he drove straight into the cacti. That is that sense of urgency I'm talking about. Drivers are throwing that caution to the wind and allowing themselves to make the mistake. We're in the last 15 seconds as we roll up to the first stage, and the guys are going to be ensuring that cars are ready, everything is ready to go on their end, making sure that everything is obviously ready. The drivers have full opportunities to tune. They will always have that opportunity with us, as well as the full selection of tires. And on my side as the host, I see we are rolling on over to what is the essentially 1 minute warning for all the drivers, and I'll confirm with our director. Everyone was ready, so no 1 minute warning on our side, folks. We are starting off with stage 1 of Estonia. This is going to be an absolute cranker, as it is the faster of the two stages as an average, but we definitely want to make sure we follow along with some of the guys who were on the faster end in Estonia. So 5-second warning heading into the first stage. Mr. Director, if we possibly could ensure we get over. And unfortunately, folks, we can't show you the start, as Mr. Director is actually also a competitor and has to suffer the same process as I do. This is something we're all learning, we're getting used to. We would like to offer you guys the best possible broadcast, but we're limited by the limitations of obviously WRC. And obviously, see now you are off with our first driver, currently using a Citroen. The C3 is surprisingly also a little bit of a go-kart at the moment. Definitely on the tighter end of things, as you can see, executing a big jump, another big jump, and then you're going to be navigating into quite a flowy, fast section. Another very big jump coming up here. You want to make sure you land square. And again, Estonia just seems to love the hay bale on the inside. So you're going to be navigating a lot of these bales, lots of street signs, through lots of junctions with houses, as you can see. Another street sign, another big jump. As you can see, this is the nature of Estonia. On board with Charles Wilkin as he approaches the board for the first sector. I'd like to see how he hits it. This first stage, very, very quick through that left-hander, cutting it nicely there. 57 seconds, 3:29. Our leader so far, currently in the Toyota Yaris GR. Very, very quick there, and very sudden thing here, and then into a one right here. Got to watch out for those. Those are actually concrete. That bollard that you saw there, that's actually a concrete pillar. That's like stops people from also mucking about on the private roads. And here another example of a very tricky section. You're going to see a jump coming up through a corner. That's going to be something that you're going to see a lot coming up with Estonia. It's going to be happening more and more where drivers are navigating a jump through a corner. So they're going to have to actually be setting the car up for the corner. As you can see here, I believe this is a driver, James. He is also currently one of our faster drivers coming into that same fast flowy section. As you can see how close those concrete little pillars are to the inside. Ladies and gentlemen, if you hit one of those, it's tickets. Big jump coming up here, big one, missing the road a little bit. That's actually one of the big scoring jumps. And here's another tricky section. You're definitely going to watch that, because as you can see, a jump through a corner. Coming up through to here, a very, very tight corner that you're going to want to make sure, again, lots of stuff, little things on the inside of the road. So these navigators are going to be saying, caution, don't cut through a lot of these. And really, you want to listen to that guy, because when you cut it, that's it. You're gonna suffer some tremendous damage. He's cutting it really fine there. Also, those thinner ones that you can see, those are just wood. The drivers are going to be a little bit more daring with those because they can hit them. But these ones, like you saw there, that is concrete, ladies and gentlemen, that the driver just drove past and is at the perfect height to take out a radiator and the forced induction of the car and all sorts of stuff. So absolutely opening the taps now, as you can see. This is oh no. Apologies about that, folks. A little bit of learning exercise again. I said with the broadcast, we are figuring things out as we learn with WRC, trying to provide you guys with the best possible broadcast. Though another perfect example. That was a fantastic example of setting the car up for the jump through the corner. He approached the corner, the jump basically sideways to set it up. Lovely, but yeah, Another example, folks, of a very tricky section. Watch how as he navigates through this jump, he's going to have to navigate and these ditches with those things. If you hit those little wooden things, that's potentially a puncture. It is going to take out a tire. It is going to hurt the car to some degree. So you really want to remove the possibility of that and just take it easy. And as you can see, lots of stones that accompany it. Coming up through here, and another very technical section. This is going to be lots of using the gears to drive the car. As you can see there, didn't even use the brakes. Just pitched the car, shifted down, and allowed the car to then use its own torque. Very tight little section here coming up. And now the guys are going to start to open the taps a little bit as it opens up. Watch how fast it's going to start opening up here. You're going to hear the car shift through its gears, and it's just going to get faster and faster and faster till eventually suddenly arrive at another very, very technical section, which is the phenomenally fun part with Estonia. And again, very, very smooth roads. You can make the rally car very geared for just the jumps. There we go. Suddenly, around a bale, make sure very tight, brilliantly done here by Kev, making sure he's maximizing the amount of road. Unlike real track racing, folks, rallying is not use the whole road all the time. You want to be setting the car up, as you saw there. He pitched the car to set it up so that he's carrying a huge amount of speed. No! Charles Wilkin! No! What you're seeing here, folks, is a tremendous amount of damage as he comes through to this chicane. This chicane is usually approached at a tremendous rate of speed. But, folks, as you can see here with Charles Wilkin, this has been a big crash. Windscreen is a bit crashed. I can hear the car. He's stuck in first gear. That means the car is essentially on the very broken side. I would love to see if we get an opportunity to see his car from the outside. But this is going to give a chance for our field to seriously catch up. As you can see, we're not even halfway through the stage yet, and Charles is in big trouble through this section. I suspect he maybe hit one of these obstructions in the road that they use to put into place. He maybe even hit one of the earlier chicanes. Anything is possible with Estonia. She can be a bit of a cruel and unforgiving mistress at times. But as you can see, also, unlike Kenya, you can be a little bit more, how should I say, daring with the cuts, because you do have a little bit of a cleaner outside surface of the road. There won't be huge amounts of rocks and everything, so you can bank on it. As you can hear there, folks, hitting the limiter as he approaches another fast section. He is absolutely tapped out, approaching a very tricky right-hander here, very, very tight around those bales, heading onto a very, very fast section with crests and also a number of rises. As he navigates this, he'll be heading off into that forest where things just open up a little bit. Charles Wilkin, you can see, is visually falling back, though, ladies and gentlemen, on that progression bar on the left-hand side. There is a number of drivers who will be pushing to catch him now. They are, though, marginally aware of what happens. They haven't been informed that there's an accident, but if they're, I suppose, comfortable enough in the game to concentrate on what they're doing on the road and to monitor that bar to a certain degree, you can see it out of your peripheral vision when you're driving. They'll be able to see Charles falling back. They'll be able to see their own names catching. Okay, so I may be incorrect about the extent of Charles' damage, because I do see he's heading out. But what I saw on the on the screen there is potentially quite hectic damage. Charles, if that damage is legit, he is going to have a really unpleasant time in the service park. Engineers are going to have some words with the man. No, ladies and gentlemen, it does look like his car is fine. I've been informed by our wonderful director that may have been a visual bug. So apologies. All of my excitement over Charles sending it into the nether realm was probably all in vain, as he is still here and he is still running, and it does look like he is at full tilt, not stuck in first gear. So this is a mistake on my behalf, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have just encountered one of our major learning curves with WRC. Maybe it likes to show you gremlins sometimes, but it was the fun of esports sim racing, isn't it? On board with Martin at the moment. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a driver who in the era of Dirt 2 holds multiple world records. This is a guy who races often in VR as well and has a highly entertaining stream that I encourage you to go check out. You'll be able to find a lot of his information on the stream through the ENRC Discord. He posts a lot of his own links. Here we go. These, ladies and gentlemen, chicanes are obviously aimed to try break up the speed of a straight. You'll see this a very, very fast open section. So that chicane is strategically placed to make sure the drivers aren't at full tilt for the whole thing. That's also a safety measure. It's not necessarily to make them slow down, it's to make things a little bit safer. As you can see, they're navigating literally past someone's front door. That's the fun of Estonia. And here we go, folks. As I mentioned, these graphics that extend over the stage indicate the last 800 to 900 meters of the stage. and you'll start to see various timing boards showing up on the side of the stage. You'll see a yellow one coming up first as we're on board with JJ here, as he navigates through that very tight 90 left, right, 90 right. Oy, my lefts and rights at the moment. And here we go. You'll see the first section, these yellow boards. This is the last 100 meters, and the red board's flying finish. And that is it for that driver. On board now with Roxanne Barton. She is actually one of our real-world competitors as well, taking part in some real-world events. Definitely not what she wanted. I'm so sorry if that was a commentator's curse for jumping onto you there, but that was a big connection with that hay bale. It doesn't look like it's affected her bodywork too much on the side, but that rear bumper is definitely not too happy now, having a little bit of a wiggle as she approaches the last 100 meters of the stage. Apologies. Oh, that was the 800 meter mark. She's a little bit further back. I believe she looks like she may be one of our final entrants on the road. She, though, won't be able to make it as the 1 minute mark hits. So, folks, that is the first stage of Estonia, the shorter of the two as well. We are about to head off to potentially one of the more popular stages. All right, well, that just put my excitement to bed, didn't it? So now we got Charles Wilkin, 18 seconds faster than second place, a gentleman from Madagascar, one of our African entrants. He definitely is on fire, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Charles Wilkin is, if you have any called general knowledge of motorsport in the early 2000s and era, Charles Wilkin was one of our top rally drivers, and unfortunately lost his drive at the time with Ford. And what he did was he came and showed all of us young guns in sim racing that you don't need, youth and a bad haircut is always trumped by age and experience, I guess. And that's what Charles Wilkin is showing us time and time again in almost anything he enters. It is quite phenomenal to see the pace that he shows. As I mentioned, he is our current pub champion for the NRC and for the ENRC, obviously. And if you would like to go and see, there is a very cool photo of the national champion handing over the prize to our virtual champion, which is obviously something we want to try to promote, bridging the gap between real world and not sim racing, Dakar, all the fun stuff that we like to do on loose surface. This is our attempt to try bring as much of that to you and have some of the faster guys, give them the opportunity to represent under Motorsport South Africa. This is a no BS attempt, I should say, at making sure that sim rallying receives just as much attention and focus as the rest of the rally community, or the racing community, should I say, where we've got a large number of really incredible drivers that don't really get to showcase their skill set because their skill set is dirt. We've got a huge amount of talent coming up later today. I encourage you to stay tuned all day to make sure that you catch up with all the track-based racing that's going to be coming up. Like I said, later we've got some iRacing coming up with the BMW M2 CS. We've also got karting a little bit later on the day, and then obviously the mega big community that is LNR going to be making sure they provide you with a little bit of track racing action in Assetto Corsa Competizione. What I'd like to do, folks, is then see if we could go back to the prizes. I do want to push this, as Sparko Gaming is not only a huge part of what my business does in sim racing, but they are actively looking at ways to improve and enrich the community. And this prize of 1,500 Rand voucher from Sparko Gaming is not a small amount to go and buy yourself some really legitimate Sparko racing gear for your rig. That is open to anything with the Sparko Gaming label to it. Unfortunately, folks, I do have to just say now, that is not for real Sparko racing stuff. So if you're a karter and you want to go add this to your suit, unfortunately, that is not applicable. We are only doing this for the Sparko Gaming range, but our awesome local Sparko dealer has a phenomenal range available, and if there's anything that needs to be ordered, well, that can then obviously be done for you guys. At the moment, we are in the last 45 seconds of the time given in the service park. Like I said, it's a simulated 45 minutes, but the drivers only have 2 minutes within the service park to actually do their fixes. And it's a very, very easy process. They get a very graphic screen with, you broke your radiator. It's a big red exclamation mark. It's broken. You've got to really then choose how long it's going to take, and your engineers will simulate the amount of time they need. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, oh, we need to replace the thing, we need the whole 45 minutes. So that's something that the game allows the drivers to simulate, and as I mentioned before, we are using what is essentially hardcore damage, real world simulated damage. Even running over and hitting something minor could damage the suspension. So as we roll on over to the start of the next stage here as the host, We are going to be within the last couple moments before the final stage. I'm going to quickly have a drink of water because my mouth is getting dry. And currently loading in, my side showing as the host. Everyone is ready, loading up. We are on the final 5-second countdown. So any minute now, we are going to be having a real showcase. Because like I said, when this stage starts, it opens with a very tricky section. That's the final one, and we are off. The first cars are away, as you can see, pulling off the line here at the moment. The Toyota GR, folks, is a very popular choice at the moment for a lot of the drivers, as it being a DLC car, obviously guys maybe feel a bit, they want to use it. I'll keep quiet here and let you guys enjoy this opening hairpin. A little bit of an overcommitment here by this driver in Toyota, but as you can see, he heads down into this hill with a hugely fast 3 right into here, but obviously tarmac. So suddenly the handling properties of the cars become drastically different as he heads through this section here. And you want to be very careful because this is a very easy section to spin on. The drivers are using dirt tires, so the traction is going to be inherently a little bit lower. They're going to be navigating, as you can see, these very negative camber crests as they're approaching all of the things. Lots of jumps, lots of a yump into a sudden dip, navigating through a little bit of an uneven section. And as they come through the gate, you're going to get a very technical right-left coming through here, often best utilized, as you can see, Charles Wilkin using the gears and the accelerator to steer the car, not the brakes, not actually activating there. But as you can see, there's a definite push, and I must be honest, that is a huge surprise. I'm going to double check as to that driver's name because suddenly Charles Wilkin has a bit of pressure on him in the stage. But folks, as you can see, Estonia, lots of trees, lots of telephone poles. Just as dangerous as Kenya, but maybe a little bit cleaner. Maybe just as not as rocks and bushes. You know, roads are maintained a little bit more on the sides for just the area that it's in. But as you can see, not nearly as forgiving. As you can see, this driver here, James, nearly making contact with that telephone pylon here. And now opening up to what is going to be a very fast section. Very series of what are 5 and 6 rights and lefts. The higher the number in the calls, the less of the thing. So when I say a 1 left or a 1 right, that's essentially a 90-degree corner approaching a hairpin, basically. As you can see, navigator sitting next to him with the notes. He'll be reading off the route navigation, calling out the various corners, calling out the various elements. Ooh, the side of the road, they're obviously catching you out. You don't want to be driving off the side of the road because even a bush can suddenly snag you and get the car turned around on you. So you definitely don't want to be driving in the side of the growth. As you can see here, Rickus Hutting also taking out that little bit of a route marker there. That route marker doing nothing to Rickus, but Rickus deciding to punish it anyway as he approaches a very fast section. And here you're going to start to hear the cars tapping out of the limiter as they approach the jump, hitting the limiter as they jump. But you're going to start to hear big jump as you come over the crest. And folks, that is Estonia for you. I mean, we always call Finland the land of trees and jumps, but Estonia, she comes a close second sometimes with how you have to approach this. As you can see, huge amount of airtime as Rickus approaches that section. And now coming through a very tight section, as I mentioned. Now the tight corners, trees on either side, a little bit of open into another tight section. And folks, Estonia is as unforgiving because, like I mentioned earlier, lots of little concrete things, lots of little pieces and bits and pieces all over the place. Trees and houses you can hit and all sorts of stuff like that. Also, as I mentioned as well, those chicanes. Those chicanes are on the unbelievably brutal side. If you had to hit one, it's not going to be a joke whatsoever. So something to bear in mind that, you know, these drivers are, when you see it come as close as it looks like it is, I reckon the driver is also maybe puckered a little bit in the rig. He's tensed up, making, oh no, what just happened? And it's also worth mentioning, and I'm speaking, I suppose, colloquially and saying, guys, it is worth mentioning we have 2 ladies competing with us today, Roxanne Bartle and Gurley Lukile, 2 of our female rally drivers who compete in the virtual scene. Huge welcome to them. Obviously, huge amounts of passion of rallying coming through from both of them. Gurley as well has a very entertaining Instagram channel, which I encourage you to go and check out, as she posts a lot of foot content of her driving in the various locations as she starts to master the skills needed to, you know, get faster at rallying. And obviously then, folks, please come and join us. If you have a passion for rallying, whether you're playing on a controller or you're playing on a wheel or a hugely expensive sim rig of your own at home, come and join us in the ENRC. It is a tremendous amount of fun hitting these dirt locations. And currently, we are still actually in a tarmac location, the Eastern European round of our, or should I say Central European, apologies. Name of the rally is the Central European Rally, and that is a tarmac rally. On board here with Kalen Mauer, hitting it up on two wheels there, fantastically brought back down. That can really spell the end, because these cars will suddenly tip over onto their roof quite suddenly without you realizing. Very tricky section navigating onto another piece of tarmac. You're going to see Kalen approach a 90 right here. Very, very tricky, because he's going to need to not only get the car turned on the tarmac, but then make sure that he keeps the traction up before being on the dirt. Have a look how quickly it transitions with that street sign right on the exit. So that was very, very well done from Kalen. Keeping it nice, keeping it clean, and making sure the car doesn't get all out of sorts on him as he navigates that section. I can speak from experience. I crashed big time in our last club championship there last season. That was where I stopped. That was my rally over. Terminal damage, I hit that street sign. So, back on board with Sean Wilkin, last 800 meters of the stage, navigating through a moderately tricky section, and now this is going to be opening up to what is quite a tricky section in the sense of you'll see the road gets kind of out of sorts at points heading up to the finish here. He's going to navigate a bit of a yump, and then this corner here is going to be quite tricky because he has to navigate through the finish. And in the real club rallying, Charles can absolutely cane it there because the game stops for him there. It won't allow him to continue. If you were in the real rally mode and you had to hit anything on the outside there, that's actually damage. You will suffer for the rest of the rally. So it's worth mentioning that Charles throwing caution to the wind there, knowing he can throw it a little bit harder through there. If that had been a normal one of our club-based rallies, that probably would have been a big problem for Charles, because that would have meant damage after the stage, which he obviously never wants. Back on board with Roxanne. She looks like she's going to be able to finish stage 2. Fantastic job, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for our 2 stages of both Estonia and Kenya. I deeply hope you have enjoyed some of the loose surface rallying that we put on. Obviously, the day being clinched by Mr. Wilkin. Just an absolute masterclass of driving, absolute show of class. There is no doubt that we need some challenges here, folks. If you feel like you need to come and showcase your skill set and you think you can maybe challenge this man, I encourage you, please, ladies and gentlemen, make your way through to the ENRC. You will find all of the details for this on Motorsport South Africa's Facebook page. If you need to ask questions, ask it of MSA. They will point you in the direction of the Sim Racing Association and all of its members. And that obviously means for all of the stuff you're going to be seeing coming up later today, we will make sure that MSA is able to give you guys all the ability to access everything and to make sure that we are filling the grids with as much talent as we can possibly muster, because that's what we need to grow the sport. We need people to believe in what we're doing here. We need people to make sure that A, on our side, we're delivering for you guys in terms of racing, and B, you guys are coming to race with us so that we can make sure that we're putting the best possible talent forward. It doesn't help if the talent is sitting at home not doing anything. We need to have people signing up. So the next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Richard Herring. As one of the founders of the ENRC, I deeply, deeply thank you for coming and joining us on this first opening round of the Africa Festival 2025, proudly brought to you by Motorsport South Africa. It has been an absolute pleasure. I haven't commentated in a while. That was a tremendous amount of fun, and I love rallying. It's always been one of my favorites. So fantastic way to start the day from my behalf. You're going to hear from me again in a couple minutes. We're going to take a short break. I would like to do an interview with the driver who won, Charles Wilkin. Sir, how are you? Okay, let me go and make sure that I can hear Charles Wilkin on my side. We would like to just have a couple minutes to chat to our winner. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to send him a message. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I mentioned, Charles Wilkin, coming from a real racing background, he was once competing in real rally cars. He is now, like I said, bringing that skill set over and showing exactly what a real racing driver brings to sim racing, what a real racing driver can bring to the party and showcase. You know, if you've got a skill set, if you've got some pace, come and bring it and show us. Mr. Wilkin, congratulations, sir. Another commanding win in the rally car for you, sir, in the ENRC. I must be honest, there was a moment where I had a huge scare because the game represented and showed that you had a huge crash. car massively smashed windscreen, but it turned out to be a visual bug. That stage you ended up actually dominating. Talk me through how you threw caution to the wind, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. No, it was. I played it a bit cautious in the beginning, and it was quite close. And then I thought, no, let's give it a smash on the third stage, and that worked.
That definitely worked. I could see you turned the taps up a little bit when you got to Estonia. I could see something kind of turned on. And that's why I got a huge fright, because suddenly we went on board with you. You were missing a door. You had a crashed smashed windshield. And I just said, oh, no. And then we got to see your car a little bit later on from the outside, and it was fine. And you're absolutely... And then we went through the Delta, and you're like 9 seconds ahead. So, yet again, like I said, congratulations, sir. Another commanding victory. I will reach out to you a little bit later on today to discuss, obviously, your gloves. But I think we can do another thing at the Sparco head office, involve Kobus in this one. Our awesome Sparco dealer locally providing the gloves to Charles Wilkin as his prize, just adding to the assets that Mr. Wilkin has for his sim racing.
Thanks a lot, Richard. It was great fun.
Man, I'm so glad to hear that. And we will be putting more on. This is just the start. As we figure out more about the EA WRC and Ryan and I start to become a little bit more creative, we're going to start to do a lot more in terms of these kinds of lobby racing, do something a little bit different for our guys.
Yeah, cool. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Charles, again, thank you so much for competing. It's always a pleasure. Again, huge congratulations from my side. And a satellite congratulations, I'm sure, from Sparco Gaming locally. We'll be in touch, okay?
Thanks, Richard.
Absolute pleasure, Charles. You have a good day, man.
Okay, bye.
Ciao. All right, folks, that is wrapping it up for the ENRC's portion of Africa Festival. We are approaching 10 o'clock, so there's going to be a short little break between now and the BMW M2 CS Racing and iRacing. This is obviously going to be a one-make cup with a variety of, well, not variety, should I say, but some heat racing. So it's going to throw some stuff at our drivers. Again, no huge surprises. Nice temperate track conditions, so we're not going to be cooking any tires. We're also not going to be expecting any rain, because I don't feel like having the M2 stab some of my drivers. She gets real stabby when it rains, so we don't want to be doing that. But again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Richard Herring. On behalf of Ryan Barrington-Smith, as the other co-founder of the ENRC, huge thank you for coming and joining us for today, and I will be seeing you again a little bit later. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
You